Sea level are rising and oceans are becoming warmer. Longer, more intense dry period threaten crop, wildlife and freshwater supply. From polar bear in the Arctic to the marine turtle off the coast of Africa, our planet diversity of life is at risk from the changing of climate.
Climate change poses a fundamental threat to the places, species, and people livelihood WWF works to protect. To adequately address the crisis, we must urgently reduce carbon pollution and prepare for the consequences of global warming, which we are already experiencing.
Human and wild animals face new challenges for survival because of climate change. More frequent and intense droughts, storms, heat waves, rising sea level, melting glaciers, and warming oceans can directly harm animals, disrupt their place they live, and wreak havoc on people's livelihood and community. Assalamualaikum and welcome to the ABC News. Today our headline is Climate Change. For your information, there have been several cycles of glacial advance and retreat with the abrupt end of the last ice age about 7,000 years ago. Most of these climate changes are attributed to very small variations in Earth orbit that change the amounts of solar energy our planet receives. Earth orbiting satellites and other technological advances have enabled the scientists to capture the big pictures, collecting many different types of information about our planet and its climate changes on a global scale.
As planet temperature increases, the climate varies, and now I'll moderate this issue on words of climate change, and I'm very honored to have with me these two fantastic panelists today. Please welcome Dr. Dadila, the environmental scientist, and Dr. Hilayati, the physicians. Thank you for coming today. Okay, based on my reading, I found that many people frequently ask the question that are related to climate change and the marine ecosystem. So, can you explain briefly on how both are linked together? And maybe I could begin with you, Dr. Danila.
Okay, thank you to our moderator, Ms. Nana, for the question. Proceeding to the link between climate change and marine, little do you know that the ocean is actually the largest collector of solar energy. This is because it has more capacity than the atmosphere to absorb heat. The global warming occurs due to the high level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So when this carbon dioxide reacts with the ocean water, it will make the ocean water to become acidic. This is also called as the ocean acidification. This will then interrupt the water quality, and some particular species that is not suitable to live in this kind of condition or changes will face difficulties. For example, if a particular species cannot migrate successfully unless it can adapt to the kind of changes, it is possible for them to become extinct. So that is how climate change is related to marine.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for your clear explanation. So moving on to the next panel.
Yes.
As we all know, the climate change are getting more serious nowadays, and not only give big impact to the marine life, but also to the human health and the economic services. So basically, maybe you can elaborate more on this issue on how the climate change actually can be related to the spreading of the disease.
Okay, thank you to Ms. Anna for the question. Okay, yes, absolutely yes, that climate change actually can spread the disease. And for your information, that malaria killed 650,000 people alone in 2012. And this is because of Anopheles mosquito can adapt to the hot and humid area. Okay, according to the IPCC, which is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that say that climate change can associate with the longer transmission season for malaria in some region in Africa, and also an extension for the disease geographic range. And besides that, during climate change also parasite can develop faster. For example, like lungworm, which is they can develop more faster and also can be transmitted over the longer period. Do you know that actually one of students in UMT got fainted because of dehydrated during the hot weather?
Oh.
So is that a common effect that caused by climate change?
So other than that, maybe both of you can tell us some factors that lead the occurrence of the climate change, and how the people out there can actually overcome and preventing this issue from getting worse.
Okay, so the Earth's temperature is actually dependent on the balance between energy entering and leaving the planet system. If the heat energy leaving the planet system is not as much as or at the same level with the heat entering the planet system, then the global warming will occur. This problem gets worse due to other adding factors such as the volcanic eruption that occurs naturally, the greenhouse gases that is emitted by the vehicles that people use, the fossil fuels burning, and not to mention the cutting of trees, which inhibit their roles to absorb carbon dioxide. So maybe you can explain more regarding the way to overcome.
Okay. For overcome the climate change, which is first you do not do the open burning, and then second is you need to save your electric. Do not open a refrigerator oftenly because it can increase the greenhouse gases effect. That's all for me.
Okay, thanks a lot to both our panelists today for coming here and share their knowledge. And we'll back to the main studio.
For conclusion, human-induced activity has contributed to the change pattern of extreme weather across the globe. As we can see now, all weather events are now connected to climate change. To prevent this from happening, local authorities are responsible for the range of functions, services, and assets that may be affected by climate change. A distinguished feature of climate change-related risk is that the underlying risks themselves change over the time. It is important to consider whether future generations will be in a position to adequately address these changing risks if the present generation defer action. By responding now to climate change impact, Council can improve the resilience of their communities to exist natural hazard. By doing this, they can enhance the prosperity and sustainability of present and future.
Climate change impacts on agriculture, biodiversity, coastal and marine water resource, public health, and energy. According to George Archibald, last 800 years ago, the concentration of CO2 has fluctuated, but not reached to 300 ppm. For the last century, the concentration of carbon dioxide has reached to 400 ppm and caused human activity. The energy and waste management sector are the major contributors to climate change.
On 31st March 2019, Langkry Notices has reported that Cyclone Idai had hit Africa. Cyclone Idai showed the deadly reality of climate change in Africa. As Africa climate week opened up in Ghana, some countries such as Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Malawi have showed the cause of Cyclone Idai, which stripped their town and village, and also taking hundreds of lives and left trail of destruction in their country.
Thank you from Studio B. With that, let me end this issued by some quotes from the Ban Ki-moon, which is the Secretary General from the United Nations. So as he said himself, we are the first generation that be able to end this poverty and the last generations that can take steps to avoid the worst impact of the climate change. So because the future generations will judge our harshly if we fail to uphold our moral and historical responsibility. ABC News reported. Thank you.